Hello, guys. Welcome to another exciting episode on the show, Control or Be Controlled, podcast designed to help you start thinking differently and take control of your life. I remain your host, Darlington. Today's guest is Paul Zolman, an international best-selling author. His life is a remarkable story of transformation. Growing up in an abusive home, Paul embraced the opposite of love from an early age. Instead of allowing that pain to define him, he dedicated his life to understanding what genuine love really is and how it can change lives. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Darlington. Pleasure to be with you today.
Okay, so you often say you learned about love by first experiencing the opposite of it. Can you share your story and how those early experiences shaped your life?
Yeah, Darlington, and thank you for that question. I learned the opposite of love when I was growing up, and for me, as I was searching that how I came to the conclusions I came to, I realized that I was almost like reverse engineering, Darlington, where you think of the outcome first and then you figure out how do I get from where I'm at to that particular outcome. And I really thought I did not want to be an angry person. I grew up in anger, and it really did not bring me friends. It didn't bring me influence in the community. It didn't bring any financial benefit to being angry. And I thought, why are so many people angry out there? If there's no benefit for being angry, why are people angry? And I thought, I gotta figure out what would be the opposite of anger. And there could be a lot of words that you could choose to be the opposite of anger, but I chose the word love. When I started studying about love, Darlington, and read a book called the Color Code, which tells you if you're blue, white, red, or yellow. And I thought, that's really doesn't help me. It might put me in a box and classify me, but it really didn't help me get out of the anger. Then I found a book called the Five Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. And that book, I love the principles of the book, how it will help you learn how people like to be loved. And as I'm reading through it, Dr. Chapman suggests that you have a significant other to practice it on. Well, I was single at the time, Darlington. I looked around and said to myself, Dr. Chapman, who am I supposed to love? I don't have that significant other. And the thought occurred to me, oh, I get to love everybody. And it was perfect for me because it gave me an opportunity that every minute of every day of my life, I could express love. It wasn't just to a significant other, but I could express love. And that was a revelation to me that I could look at what was right about that person instead of falling into the trap of looking at what's wrong with people. I started looking at what's right with people. Once you look in that direction, you can't look the other direction at the same time. So I focused on trying to narrow the focus of my life to only looking at what's right with people. What can I love about that person? And that really was something that changed my life.
Okay, so at what point did you realize that the beliefs about love you developed as a child weren't serving you?
So again, it was the point that I started feeling the difference was probably in first grade, Darlington. When I went to school for the first time, I was 6 years old, and that's the age that you go to first grade, where I'm at, and my teacher is in her 60s. I would guess maybe 60 years old, and she was close to retirement. She was more like a grandmother to me. I had grandmothers, but they lived miles away, and I rarely visited them. And she was so kind and so thoughtful and so complimentary and so encouraging, as you would expect from a grandmother like that. And I just loved going to school because of that particular teacher, my first grade teacher. In fact, I didn't want to go back home. I would stay after school. I would go to school early, stay after late, and I would just love being in the classroom with that particular teacher. And those were the first inklings of love and that I realized the difference. And then when I it was probably 15 years ago, though I really wanted the change to be permanent. I wanted it to permanent in my life. So instead of looking at faults and weaknesses of other people, I thought after reading the five love languages, I thought, you know what, I need to incorporate those principles into my life and look at what's loving or what can be loved about that other person. And as I mentioned, you can't look both directions at the same time. So I wanted to look at the loving direction, realized that I was focused on maybe 10, maybe 20% of a personality of a person that was their weaknesses or misgivings or their failings or their faults, and wanted to focus on the other 80 to 90% that I was missing. Once I started focusing on that, I stopped being annoyed. I stopped looking at what was wrong with that person. And what really was the impetus for me, Darlington, is that I created a game of the five love languages, and it's a brand new system, something that Dr. Chapman did not offer. So I have the copyright and everything for it, and I created it into a die, so a dice that you roll. So I made pictures of each one of the five love languages, put it on the dice. The sixth side of the die, I put a hand with a question mark on it. That one was surprised me. So you roll the die every day. You roll it in the morning, preferably. Whatever it lands on, that is the love language you practice giving away all day that day. So as you're giving it away, you're watching for people that light up. When they light up, their eyes get big, they get excited, they get happy. That's when you've discovered what they like. So for that person, you just take a mental note of wash, rinse, and repeat for that particular person. The next day you roll, it might be different. That's what you're doing that day. So over a 30-day period, you actually will have given away all five love languages and learned them backwards and forwards by giving it away. What that does for you is increase your emotional intelligence, Darlington. So now you can see it when it comes your way and respond appropriately. Most people can only see what they like. This gives you that peripheral vision that says, oh, I can see they're loving on me. It's not my primary love language, but I can respond to it.
All right, thank you so much. So, what inspired you to create the system you described in the role of love? And how does it differ from simply telling people to be more loving?
Well, again, Darlington, the title of your show is Control or Be Controlled. And I like that title a lot because it's the old adage of, is the dog wagging the tail or is the tail wagging the dog? And so if the tail is wagging the dog, there are external circumstances that you think that you can control people, or that when you do not have control. This system is a system where you are in control of what you send out, the love that you send out every single day. And that's all you have power over. You can't really bid somebody to love you. You can't tell somebody that, Darlington, I want to be loved in this way. Hello, Darlington, I'm gifts. What do you have for me today? It's also awkward to say stuff like that. And so you don't have to do the awkward anymore. You just watch for people's reaction, and then that's how you discover what love language they like. And you can cater to that, but if you cater to it, it becomes duty expectation. And duty and expectation, yeah, they can be a very low level part of love, but I don't think they're as loving as just voluntarily choosing to love someone because of who they are. Voluntarily loving someone for what they do, voluntarily loving someone for how they make you feel when you're with them, and just voluntarily loving someone just because they are an individual, a person, a child of God, so to speak. Voluntarily loving them because they are equal to you in every regard, except you're different. You're a different person, they're a different person, but they are a person. Love them because they are a person. It's quite a difference of attitude using the love language and the system in this way versus what Dr. Chapman had. Dr. Chapman would have you take a survey and then you're trying to cater. If you tell someone, Darlington, well, what your love language is, what you like, and then they don't deliver it, you're going to get to that whiny voice that says, "Well, I told you how to love me. Why aren't you doing it?" And it's just not a good situation. This system helps you volunteer and step up to the plate, sending love out every single day, and then reacting appropriately when it comes your way and being able to see it. It expands your vision and it gives you that emotional intelligence that most people don't have. It's different.
Right. Thank you so much. So, if someone fully commits to practicing your method, what kind of personal transformation can they realistically expect?
That's really a good question. I love the phrase that if you send something out, like send bread out on water, after many days it will return unto you. That's exactly what it's like. That I found, Darlington, in my life, and the part of the problem was that if I was sending anger out, that anger would come back. If I was sending love out, love would come back. And I thought, oh, I was trained to send out anger. I don't want to do that anymore because I don't want it coming back to me. And I was focused on what was wrong with people. And I realized, oh, if I'm focused on what's wrong with them, guess what they're going to focus on about me? And it's just that same law of the harvest, or whatever you want to call it. It's that karma, or that reciprocity, that whatever you send out is coming back your way. And I think that that's what the expectation can be for people, that as they continue to put money in the bank, so to speak, that they're sending out love every single day. Don't expect it to come back right away, and don't expect it at all. Don't ever expect it. You can wave to someone, and maybe they won't wave back. But if you wave to 100 people, there might be 5, maybe 5 that wave back to you, depending on the community that you live in. We don't wave anymore just to be friendly and friendly neighbors. But if you start waving, there's an opportunity and a chance that someone will respond that way. That's the expectation, Darlington, that people will get back eventually what they send out. And so the best idea is to send out goodness all day long.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul. So, who is this book written for? Is it mainly for people recovering from trauma, or can anyone benefit from it?
That's a really good question, Darlington. I feel like everybody can benefit from it in one way or another. In any relationship, if you're sending out love versus any other alternative, you're going to have love come back to you at some point in time. I think that's a good way to live your life. It's a good way to become that loving person. When you become that loving person in your own household, then it spreads from your household to the neighborhood, and from that neighborhood to the city, and from the city to the prefecture or the state that you live in, and from the state to the countries, and from the country to the other countries of the world. I think that's a better way to live. Just think of it in the school system, so to speak, that if a child learned how to be kind to one another, there wouldn't be any bullying at school. There'd be less bullies in the world because they wouldn't be raised like that. They wouldn't think that that's an appropriate way to live their life that way. And I think that if people get that mindset, that it's just a better way to live, that they're going to send that out more often and they're going to want to do that. They're going to want to make that change in their life and have those expectations that others might want to make that change too. My wife does not roll the die every single day, but what she does like is to guess what love language am I sending out that particular day that I rolled the die, and sometimes she's right and sometimes she's not right, but it's a game for her, and she's definitely watching, and coming around. She's doing really well at herself at sending out love rather than yelling or doing anything else that she may have done previously. It's um, it's it's addicting to want to help people, help them feel loved.
All right, thank you so much, Paul. So, your book and materials are intentionally affordable. Why was it important to make this message accessible to as many people as possible?
I'd love to make it accessible to as many people as possible. It is very affordable. It's a downloadable book on Kindle, on Amazon. You can get it off Amazon. You can also listen to the audio format from Amazon. It's on there. You can get the book form on Amazon. It's on there. There's a journal that goes with it that if you decide that you want to roll a die. Uh, the die are not on Amazon, though. You'll have to go to my website for that. But I want to make it as affordable, and it really is in the affordable range for most people. I think even the downloadable book, I don't think it's that much money. I haven't checked the price, but I think it's only 99 cents, um, uh, less than $1 US dollar to download the book and on Audible. So the affordability of the book is something that I wanted to make it something that could be used worldwide if people will use it. And part of the problem, though, Darlington, is that the people you mentioned who is this book for, and I think people that want to change is really the key audience for this. People that actually are may have some social problems. Maybe they've got some. Well, they want to improve just a little bit in their relationships or a lot in their relationships. If they want that improvement, this is a great book for them in that way. And like I say, the affordability is there. And there are some free downloads on my website as well that will help people remember to love every single day. That's the whole idea, is to remember and focus on loving every single day. Instead of having a willy-nilly day where come what may, and then react to that particular thing, you're going to choose to love every single day and choose a style of love. Of the 5 love languages, just choose a style of love that you're going to send out that particular day. Watch people light up, and then at the end of the day, or at the end of 30 days, you'll know all 5 love languages by giving it away. It just gives you those eyes to see it when it comes your way and respond appropriately. It's very economical, very inexpensive, very easy to change your mindset. I found for myself, Darlington, that the focus on loving uh, uh, just for a few days stopped me from being annoyed at what other people were doing. It just stopped me dead in my tracks. As I mentioned, you can only look one way on the spectrum. You can't look both at anger and love at the same time. But think of it as a stick. You can only look basically at one end of the stick and focus on one end of the stick at a time. If you're focused on love, you're not looking at the angry side. Just that's the whole idea, to get people to stop being so angry at one another. I mean, there's so much anger out in the world right now. Let's stop that and start being more loving.
Right, thank you so much. So here is my final question for you. Where can our listeners, okay, for someone listening right now who feels trapped by anger, resentment, or the pain of their past, what's the very first step they can take towards becoming a more loving person?
That's a good question. I think the first step, Darlington, as I mentioned, is decide that they want to be more loving and choose how they're going to love. I use the 5 love languages. Maybe there's something else that they can choose that way. But I haven't found very many things out in the market that will help you choose to love every single day. This is easy. This is you could randomly choose it. You could pick papers out of a hat. You don't have to roll a die or anything. And I'm glad when people purchase the product. I sell it basically at my cost. But if they purchase the product, it makes it a little bit easier. But as I mentioned, you could just write on pieces of paper the 5 love languages and then randomly pick them out of a hat and then choose how to love in that way that particular day. The whole concept is let's become a more loving society and let's start today. That's the best advice I can give anybody is if you want to become more loving, you want to be a kinder person, start loving today and start doing it on a regular basis and focus on sending that out all day, every day. And that's going to make the world a better place and make that individual a better person too. Will respond. People respond more lovingly to someone that's sending out love every single day. There's too many critics in the world. Stop the criticism. Focus on loving.
Okay, so how can listeners connect with you and learn more about your work?
They can connect with me on the roleoflove.com. It's ROLE of love.com. I did a play on words, Darlington. If you roll the die, it's outside of you. But the ROLE is what happens inside of you. So I named the website Role of Love, ROLE of love.com, just because this is going to change you inside forever. To focus on love every single day and make it a habit. Make this is what you have control over. Take charge. Take charge today of your destiny and take charge of who you want to become. You want to become that loving person, then you need to send out love all day, every single day. ROLE of love.com is how to contact me.
Right, Paul, thank you so much. This has been a very wonderful episode. Thank you for sharing your journey with us, for sharing your journey of love, a remarkable story, reminding us that our past doesn't have to determine our future. The journey from pain to purpose is a powerful example that love can be learned and practiced and shared. Thank you so much, Paul, for coming to my show.
Thank you, Darlington. It's been my pleasure.
All right, so I also want to thank my audience as well. You guys are the reason why we are able to do this. Thank you all so much for listening. And make sure to check out Paul's work. Check out his book as well. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day ahead. Bye, guys.